Welcome to NFT Singapore, NFT Malam, Singapore, Malaysia, and Australia. Today we have two amazing speakers. Our first speaker will be Yasir, aka Mixmaya.eth, who will be presenting his NFT journey and his NFT project. Welcome, Yasir.
Welcome, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just introduce yourself and then we'll begin. Thank you so.
Thank you, Kathy, again. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me today. And I'm so happy to be here. My name is Yasser. I'm currently living in Germany. I'm an architect from the background, and I have been in the NFT scene for about 1.5 years. And I want to tell you my journey today. Um, First of all, it was um, a great meeting with this world. I didn't know that anything that we are experiencing now is possible. I started thinking about it and then trying to find out what are the biggest thing that could happen. And those things came to me as in the form of a project that I'm working on. My project is called Kalimat, that is Arabic for words. I speak Arabic as my mother tongue, and I'm aggressively going to the community of Arabic speaking people and want to represent them, want to be, or not to represent them, but to make their presence very prominent in the metaverse. This is a network that is being created, that is coming together, and slowly we are catching up by the trends, by the project, by the art, and soon we're gonna have an Arabic metaverse where people can speak the language and also provide the content and also put the businesses that they want to do together in Web3. I'm gonna ask Kafi to start the presentation I prepared. I prepared like 7, 8 slides, but I'm gonna tell you through them how my journey in the NFT world was. Kafi? Okay, there we go. So NFT Malam, that's my name and the project name, and it's Arabic for words. The next slide will tell us what are we going to see today. How did all this happen? And what have I discovered from it in more detail? My vision and value for the Web3 and what it is going to bring at the end of the day. As far as we know, there's a lot of things that will be developed through time, and we never know what's going to happen, but we are here, we are the pioneers, and we're going to build that thing together. And at the end, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my project, its history, and where it comes from. Here are some samples of my work. The next slide, please. The beginning in the early 2021, I was on Clubhouse and on a random, very random room, I started hearing the term NFT. And then I Googled and it was like, what is that? And it was the buzzword, and you've seen the news going NFT, NFT here, NFT there. I started getting to know about it by a lucky group that I've met, or I was lucky to meet that group. They're called the Dream Conduit, and they are the first carbon neutral DAO. They're a pretty good team that is coming together from all over the world, trying to onboard new artists into the metaverse. So they're going to people who have no access to crypto and providing them with the knowledge first, and then preparing them, and then going with their project step by step. These people are called the dreamers, and they are launching one after the other, as we see today. It's a very sensational experience because the word carbon neutral DAO caught my attention in the beginning, because we heard a lot about how energy consuming the crypto world is. That is going to end soon. It's going to be more eco-friendly. That's also like giving us some hope for the future. But in the beginning, it's just like a rocket that is going into space. And that rocket will be using a lot of energy in the beginning, but then afterwards it takes off and starts emitting only small particles, but going through space. I was also lucky to be, I'm sorry, back. I was also lucky to be in acquaintance with the NFT 99 exhibition where I met BK and Vessi and all the beautiful people in this community. And we had this marathon at the time. So I came to them in the second edition and also in the third edition. And it was beautiful to be with these, like with this community coming, people coming together, giving their ideas in, and then getting to know each other and interacting with each other. And that was all for me so far in the virtual world, in the metaverse. And then came NFT Club Berlin. This is where I'm living now in Berlin, Germany. They're a group of devs, of creative people coming together and said, let's start something in Berlin. And they already started it. And we went for the first in real life event. For me, that was a life-changing event because for the first time, I started seeing the faces behind those projects that I'm seeing and the avatars that were on Discord and Instagram and Twitter all over. Suddenly, there was a real person. I could touch them. I could like talk to them. And since then, I was focusing on getting to know people one by one on a personal level and to build that connection that is going to the future. And with that, I know that it will be something very, very much different than just having an avatar and being in the virtual world. So this is where I started thinking that, yeah, the value that is Web3 bringing is not only inside my phone or my computer or iPad or whatever, but it's also in real life. And I started thinking about how to move on. The next slide, um, it will show you, Kathy, could you please put the next slide? Thank you so much. There's a video here that is for some reason not playing, but these are the things, for example, I'm sorry, back one. Yeah. These are the things that I've been able to do so far. I've been to the NFT 99 exhibition. These are the NFTs from them. There was also the NFT Superstars Awards 2022 at the beginning of the year. And I won the award for the best cultural representation because I was always pushing that we need Arabic speaking people in this space. We need people who represent this language. And it's it came good to the community, and that's why it is. And the last thing you see, the blue dot, the blue circle, is a POAP that I've created for the NFT Club Berlin. So each in real life event is accompanied by a POAP, and each time one artist from the community designs it with the logo of the NFT Club Berlin, and then it gets minted on site. The video that is not playing for some reason is the certificate of the Dream Conduit. So this community started making certificates for people who come to the clubhouse rooms and then attend the rooms and learn from them, and then being active, you get rewarded by getting an NFT, and that is for very good reason, not on Ethereum, not on Polygon, but on the Arbitrum fork second layer of Ethereum. So it's similar to Polygon, but also giving the more ecological aspect to the NFT. The next slide. So my first mission in this world of NFTs, after thinking about it, after seeing what happens, is that we see the role of the individual person is diminishing and the role of the community is rising. It means I, as a person, do not do not mean anything in this world if I don't have the people around me. And the more the people around me like me, love me, support me, and then be with me as much as I am with them, the more successful one could become in this world. And with the how to say, without the borderlessness of the metaverse, which brings the whole world together, as we are doing now. I'm sitting in Germany, people are in Australia, in Singapore, in Malaysia, and in the US. All across the globe, people are sitting and watching this. We can see how the real meaning of the world is a small village is coming together. The second thing is, well, when I apply my layer, for example, as an artist in the metaverse, I can put any art possible. I can put any product that is made in any way. That is okay. But there is something that I need to translate this into a real life event, a real life deed that I will be doing. And for me, my mission, starting from this city, is to introduce new artists from Germany and from Berlin into the metaverse. So currently, I'm having one-on-one conversations with people interested in the metaverse, wanting to know more about Web3 and the NFTs and what is it all about, and walking with them step by step, not on Discord, not on Twitter, but sitting together on a cafe and having a drink, for example, and then being together and talking about it face to face. My motto in this world is communicate, cooperate, and create. As long as we are active, we will be able to make these bridges, to make these networks, and keeping them alive. The next slide, please. I will talk now about my project. Kalimat, that is Arabic for words. And the concept comes a little bit from mixing the history with the Web3 and the technology that is happening now. And it's gonna come off a little bit odd, but when you think about it, it's actually like this. The next slide, please, Gavi. You know, 4,000 years ago, people used cuneiform, these are the writings on the top right corner, to write whatever they wanted. And whatever they wanted at that time were the economical deeds. They were writing who took what from whom at what time. And then they did lists. And that is kind of bringing the notion of a ledger, of a public ledger, because there were like mud stones that were presented and put, and they were preserved until today. We have them in the British Museum, over 150,000 of them, all written in this method. And that reminds me a little bit of the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the fungible tokens, the things that we use to pay and then use to transfer assets all over the world. The second concept is the calligraphy. And calligraphy, as you know, is the art of drawing words, of drawing the letters to come together in a very precise and very artistic way to put words together in the way you see it on the lower right corner of the screen. And this for me is the second layer that comes to it. And the historical part that is coming now is everyone, I guess, have heard about the Epic of Gilgamesh. It was the first or the second most famous text that has been in history, and it's an epic history. It's a great story of a prince, of a king who has a journey. It's about friendship. It's about dealing with death. It's about how we come out of our lives and what is the meaning of our lives. And by that, this story was found written in cuneiform, which means for me is that I used the same language that I used to write economical deeds in art, in doing a story, in the art of writing. And from that story came a lot of statues, came a lot of paintings and other stones that are still conserved until today. And that represents for me the layer of NFTs. Now I'm taking a JPEG and putting it on that digital handle to bring together a digital product and sell it to someone, giving them value through my art. The next slide, please. Now here are some samples that are coming together. My team is consisted of people who write, people who are journalists, and me as an artist, and also marketplaces. For example, the third picture is Nifty Souk, and Nifty Souk is the first NFT marketplace that is concentrating on the MENA region, that's Middle East and North Africa, and they are launching soon. And I will be launching my first collection with them, together with the Arabic world. So in that sense, um, what is happening is all of these efforts of networking are coming together into launching the project soon. The next slide, please. Oh, there should be a video here. I'm sorry about that, but I was prepared for that. So I put a link and I put a QR code for you to scan, and you will go immediately to my foundation page and see the NFT that is coming. I've created this a couple of days ago, and it is now ready to be sold. I hope you will like it. At the end of the day, I would like to thank BK Han again, and Sean and Mike, for inviting me to speak today. It was an honor being here live on YouTube, and back to you, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Yasser, for your presentation. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to supporting your NFT projects in the future. Thank you. Next, we have Jenny Butt from Moksha Shots. Welcome, Jenny.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So I'd like to introduce myself first. I'm a physical artist based in Mumbai, India, and I've been doing shows on the gallery circuit worldwide for 26 years now. I joined the NFT space a year ago, and I work with a project called Moksha Shots in both the gallery spaces and the NFT spaces. My work has been auctioned by Christie's several times as well. And I just wanted to share the Moksha Shots journey with you all. So I'm going to start with the beginning of the Moksha Shots journey. So I started Moksha Shots while I was doing an artist residency at the School of Visual Arts in New York. And then the following year, in 2009, I had an exhibition at a gallery in Mumbai. So I'm just going to briefly play a video for you to show you the gallery and the exhibition, and then I'll talk a little bit about it. So here we go. Safi, Righto. So that was the first Moksha Shots Gallery exhibition. And now I'm going to share more about Moksha Shots and the concept and what it actually is. So, uh, hi, Kafi. Yeah, there you are. Okay, so moksha shots is basically a word I've coined, and the concept is that my work is actually based in Eastern philosophy. So, in Eastern philosophy, moksha means nirvana or salvation. Basically, the idea is that when you get moksha, you get liberation from the cycle of birth, suffering, and death. And those who get moksha have had very pious lives with lots of positive karma. But then I realized that most of us in our current lifestyles don't have that much positive karma, so we can get shots of it. And each of us can make our own moksha shot out of whatever we find fulfilling. So it could be art, it could be NFTs, it could be a brownie, or it could be a tequila shot or a dopamine shot if we are all on the internet all the time. So that was the concept. And then, what we did for the show was we sent out a Moksha Shots credit card as an invite and told everyone that they could do a lifetime of free shopping. And what they got in return was karmic brownies, which they could exchange with for, mind flights and virtual cruises and virtual artwork. Now, mind you, those days in 2009, virtual artwork was unheard of. But that was just my imagination. Then here, instead of Mastercard, it says Karma card, and so that's how we, sent out the invite. So basically, the whole idea, the whole exhibition for this particular series was that liberation through consumption, how we try to gain, a moksha shot, or how we try to gain happiness out of consuming things. So I noticed that, in urban culture, we like to venerate things. We like to create gods out of, people and products and movie stars and politicians and CEOs. So I created my own deity characters, which I call Moksha Pets. And each of them is an aspect of the self, and each of them, has their own identity. So this is Moksha Bai, spelled Buy, who is the consumer goddess, and she has the weapons of mass consumption in her hands. So there's the credit cards. Here is the severed head of a fashion victim, and cash and shopping bags. She's a consummate consumer, so she consumes everything. Here she has a shopping list, and of course, ice cream. And this is her mantra, the incredible lightness of buying. And each of these deity characters had a mandala painting of their own. So this is hers, and the other characters are there in this painting. Then I translated this character into NFTs. These are some of the NFTs that are on the Binance chain on WazirX NFT, which is Asia's largest NFT platform. And here Moksha Bai is there in her different incarnations, or what we call avatars in the traditional sense, but now in the metaverse, avatar means a different thing. So this is Moksha Bai as NFT NFT collector actually, and it has all the big NFT brands here, the top projects. Then there's Moksha Bai as pasta consumer. She loves to consume food as well. And then there's Moksha Bai as gadget consumer. There is a series of 12. I'm showing you only a part of them. This is Moksha Bai as fashion consumer. This is Moksha Bai as sandwich consumer. She has all kinds of sandwiches. And this is Moksha Bai as media consumer. So I introduced all the characters in the NFT space this way. And in future, whatever shape or form they may take, This is the beginning of them. This Here's the other character, Moksha Brat. He's the kind of entrepreneur, hustler, Bollywood star kind of a personality. And his mantra is, "This is not the life I ordered." He's basically irreverent. And Kundalini is the spiritual seeker, the snake, a character which I call Kundalini, which in traditional Eastern iconography, the snake is actually a symbol of spiritual energy. And the human body is said to have seven energy centers along the spine. And the snake is said to be sleeping in the root chakra at the bottom of the spine. And when this energy rises up and moves up to the crown chakra, which is on the top of the head, that's when the person is said to have got moksha or nirvana. So this is the seeker character. Then of course there's Moksha Bai and the other characters that will come along. I introduced him into the NFT space with a collection of 12 again. And these are some of the NFTs again on the Binance chain on the WazirX platform. Here's Moksha Brat as social influencer. Here's Moksha Brat as half crypto, half human god, and he's biting a Bitcoin over here. And here's Moksha Brat as NFT artist. Then there's Moksha Brat as gas buster, so he's on a balloon. And then of course here in the middle he is, as a Bollywood star. So there's a very popular Bollywood star in India called Shah Rukh Khan. I don't know, some of you may have heard of him. So he has this, very popular pose of standing like that. So that's his pose. And then there is Moksha Brat as blockchain developer. Then the next character is Moksha Bum, who is a thinker and philosopher. His mantra is to each his own pet illusion. And he doesn't move much. He has no job. Nobody knows if he has a girlfriend. He just sits there and thinks. He loves to meditate because he thinks that's the minimal effort that has to be put in. And here around are the other characters with their own delusions. So here there's Moksha Guru, who thinks he's a Superman. Here there's Moksha Brat, the guy who I introduced previously. He thinks that it's possible to have emotional security. Here's Moksha Guru again, who's flying out. Here's Moksha Bai, who thinks it's possible to have financial security. Here's Moksha Sura, which I'll introduce later, but he thinks he's all powerful. Of course, Moksha Brat has the delusion that he has a voice in a democratic setup and he has the right to protest, but we know how that works. An individual voice, as we all know, is not as powerful as a community voice. So now that we are more aware of, so I've introduced them here as Moksha Bum as 12 NFTs again. And here's Moksha Bum, the thinker. So Moksha Bum thinks that the famous statue of the thinker by Rhoda was inspired by him. And he's upset that Rhoda had no imagination and therefore he made the thinker in human form rather than resembling Moksha Bum. Then there is Moksha Bum as life coach. So he advocates retirement at age 21 for everyone. Then there's Moksha Bum as professional daydreamer. That's his job. So that's him. And then there's Moksha Bum as supreme procrastinator. So he's just putting off things. There's Moksha Bum as metaverse visionary. Mind you, he will only envision the metaverse. He won't actually get up and make it. But he's a creative guy, so he will visualize it. And then there is Moksha Bum as meditator. And that's his third eye opening. And then I'm giving away, desktop and mobile screensavers or wallpapers to whoever buys the Moksha Bum. The next character is Moksha Guru, who is the OG of the Moksha pets. and he's lived hundreds of years, thousands of years. He's lost count. He's the saintly advisor, kind of the oldest among the moksha pets, and his stance here says, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, and no sex. He's very pious. This is the wheel of life, and this is his mandala with all the different events in everyone's in human life. And he was introduced again on the Binance chain on the WazirX platform as a series of 12 NFTs. I'm showing here some of them. And what I'm giving as utility is 1 hour educational room with me to whoever buys these NFTs. So here's Moksha Guru as Super Yogi. So he's a great practitioner of yoga, and he's all well realized and all that. Here's Moksha Guru as content creator, and here's Moksha Guru as metaverse creator, because he's the actual creator. He believes he created the first metaverse ever, and of course, again, that's arguable, but that's him. And nobody argues with him. He's old, and everybody needs his advice, so nobody argues with him. This is Moksha Guru as OG, NFT OG. So he's got, all the coins and the security and everything. And this is Moksha Guru as the counselor. So that he takes care of everyone's needs in the metaverse, all the NFT community in general has mental health issues. So he takes care of that. And here's Moksha Guru as NFT advisor. Then there is Moksha Sura, the chocolate flavored evil. He's a necessary evil like gas fees and taxes. And of course, his mantra is I'm a chocolate flavored evil. And he's a kind of violent, angry guy, but he's a sweet guy, So this, I haven't introduced him yet in the NFT space, but he'll be coming soon. He already appears in my other NFTs. So these are ritual objects that I've made, especially for this series of Moksha shots. And these beads were actually 108 beads which I hand painted. These are also hand painted. This is called Moksha Drool. Now this is my Genesis series on OpenSea, and it's called Altered States of Mind 1, 2, and 3. It's about the trance state. Now some people achieve a trance state by meditating, other people achieve it by substances, and so on and so forth. You'll recognize the characters here. There's Moksha Bai with all her, we consume things. So she's a consumer, and we consume with our senses. So the eyes touch. Here there's a pillow for sleep, and here there's a brain being eaten, and of course the shopping bag, which is all powerful for her. Then there's Moksha Guru here, and with his scroll full of advice and enlightenment. There's a candle and Kundalini at the bottom, since he's a seeker and he wants to seek his advice. This is a Moksha Bum at the center, and this is his brain and everything that goes on in his brain because he thinks too much. And this was this is the NFT which sold first within a few hours of minting. It was bought by Ishita Banerjee, who is the highest selling in South Asian NFT artist. And I was thrilled because it was my first day in the NFT space, and within a few hours it was sold. So that worked out well, and it encouraged me to stick around. And I'm glad I did, because I'm meeting so many nice people. I'm having so much fun, and I've been part of so many shows. And this again is on OpenSea. This is Moksha by Mandala 3, again about consumerism. So the shopping carts form the border, and also we consume with our senses. And the band-aid stands for healing, and the bone stands for illness. So there are these downturned hands over here. And these arrows, they stand for the mind going all over the place, trying to shop. This is, of course, consuming with the mouth. And so the brain is being sipped over here and here as well. The second uh, work, this is an NFT called Rorschach Mandala, Rorschach as an ink blot, the Rorschach ink blot. And here this is about Moksha Brat, as in a person's relationship. So he's been pulled by consumerism, Moksha Bai in all sorts of directions. And there's Moksha Sura, who is the evil, chocolate flavored evil, and he's all in a frenzy. And there's Moksha Gurus on either side. Moksha Bum, who is the thinker, has been sidelined to the background because of this state of, stress that Moksha Rat is in. And that's how it is. The brain is usually pushed back when one is in a state of stress. These are some shots from shows I've had internationally. So this is the one at the bottom middle is from my New York show. And these three are from a show in Amsterdam. This is a show in Amsterdam, gallery picture, and there were some nice musicians. And Amsterdam, as many of you know, is a party place and it's full of character art. So it was, great fun to do this. And this is me with my artist friends from the show. And then the work started changing a bit. So here's Moksha Brat in the next version, next version of the mandala. And this mandala is about, the conflicts in the mind, wants versus need, truth versus fiction, value versus worth, love versus desire, and so on and so forth. And here his third eye. So the third eye is when the third eye opens in Eastern culture. When the third eye opens, one is said to be enlightened. So he's opening his third eye himself because he's irreverent. And this is called How to Tie Yourself into Knots. So here's Moksha Bum, who has tied himself into knots by overthinking. And here's the brain. Then there is another series. This is called Faith Popcorn. This is about, how spirituality is marketed and how, so it says right here, right now in the text over here. And this is popcorn flying out and how spirituality has become a product for consumption, and it's also trivialized and made it frivolous to some extent, but that's the general system, so we can't get out of it. And here's a brain with an arrow shot through it, and these are all, the things that we desire. And then this is Moksha, this is Nostalgia Mandala. And this is about, how we live in the past. Like there are audio cassettes, there's a Shakespeare book here, there's Rubik's Cube and Coke and the old phone. And, how we like to sort of eulogize the past. Moksha Bum is saying that he creates it because he creates it in his mind. Moksha Brat enjoys it. Moksha Bai exchanges it because she's the consumer, and Moksha Sura says nostalgia is currency. Now, when we are used to being in a space where there are all sorts of currencies, well, we should think about nostalgia as currency as well. Then there is, Moksha Guru was earlier called reverence, and Moksha Brat was called irreverence, and they were mirror opposites of each other. And later on, over the years, the name changed to Moksha Guru simply because it was a more memorable. And this is Moksha Guru's mandala. And so the work changed. This is Moksha Bum's mandala. So this is again about the chattering mind. The size of this is 6 feet by 4.5 feet. It was huge. It took me about 2 months to complete this. And it's about the chattering mind. So in yoga philosophy, yoga is not just a form of physical exercise, but it's also an entire way of life. It's a philosophy. And, they call it the monkey mind because the mind is constantly chattering and you have to give it something to do to calm it down. So that's why when they make you meditate, they sometimes give you a mantra or they make you focus on your breath so that, your mind is not chattering and it's not jumping around like a monkey all over the place. This is what his monkey mind is doing, as illustrated around, all the characters and all the stuff. Here, Moksha Bharat has got his skeletons in his closet, and so on and so forth. Then I made NFTs out of these characters. These are character-based NFTs. Again, these two are on OpenSea. So the one on the left is called Thought Pill Asana. Now, asana is the word asana in yoga means pose, and thought pill is a thing I have also created, like a karmic brownie. So a thought pill is actually like Viagra for the mind. It stimulates sleepy thoughts. So he's having this over-energized thinking process, and he's exhausted. Um, this is Urekasana. So again, Eureka plus asana, which is again the pose of, having this great insight of an idea. And in the original NFT, these bulb eyes are actually, flying out of there. It's an animated NFT. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible to show that because this is a PDF. Uh, and then these are again two NFTs on Calamint, on the Tezos blockchain. This both are called Delirium 1 and 2. This one is based on Moksha Brat, who is trying to escape his life. That's why it says run, run, run. And this is Moksha Bai and Moksha Guru. Um, she's of course had her own delirium out of her shopping expedition. This is called Hysteria Mandala. Now, this is also an NFT on OpenSea. The interesting thing about this piece is that if you turn it around, it makes another artwork. So it works both ways up. It's about our quest for our search for happiness within our daily life. So, buying a house, getting your paperwork done, taking care of your spiritual search, taking care of your health, taking care of your mental health, taking care of your security. Here's a brain being fried. Here are some thought pills. Here's Moksha Sura upside down. Here's Moksha Guru, and these are all Moksha Gurus. I later created merch out of these uh, things, and I launched the merch in a store called Bombay Store, which is an old chain of stores that sells um, i- products based on Indian culture. So there are notebooks, there are mouse pads, and there's a set of coasters, and also, phone covers, playing cards, mouse pad, and t-shirts. And I'd also launched a t-shirt brand called Art Weighted on Christmas Day in 2019, but then the pandemic came up, and so I had to shut it down. But basically, these you'll recognize them as the characters and what the imagery basically can do. And if I feel that if it can do so much in the physical space, it can definitely do a lot of wonderful stuff in the metaverse. So I had also created art toys out of the characters, and some of them are visual puns. These were bouncy balls which were bouncing around. Kids came and started bouncing them around the gallery, and it was fine. We encouraged it. Here's a brain with the command, this thing on it. It's a command key from the keyboard, and here's a brain zipped open with the insightful eye in the center. Here, of course, these are all the characters, and this is a black cloud. Again, borrowing from the pop surreal language, which is essentially my this thing. Now, the imagery changed a bit after that, and it became a little abstracted where there were new forms. So these are called memory games, and the objects and the characters became a bit abstracted after that. And here are paintings. Again, they are Rorschach ink plots made out of the characters and the objects. If you look at them closely, you'll recognize the characters. They're shaped like the Rosha King cloth. This was my last solo exhibition, which I had in Mumbai in uh, 2017, 2018, and now the imagery had become completely abstract, which is what I carried forward into the NFT space. And I'd also launched the Moksha Shots comic book. These are two pictures from the opening. Here in the center is me with, we have a very famous artist here, senior artist. He's passed away, MF Hussain. This is his daughter, who's a friend of mine and likes to come to my shows. Then the imagery became like this. So this is the new what Moksha Shots looks like now. This was part of that show. And then I have NFTs on Foundation, which are part of that. So there's these are called pop yantras, which I call pop yantra. So essentially, yantra is an energy um, regulating device. It's like a mandala. You look at it when you meditate. But to the modern mind, to the contemporary mind, we make our yantras out of the power symbols, out of social media icons, like shopping carts and commas and so on and so forth. So that's the idea behind the pop yantras. Here there are two others of the same series. These three are on Foundation, and I'm working on more of them for the, as I keep minting more. So I'd like to thank BK and Sean and Mike for giving me this opportunity, and it's been great to be associated. I've been part of NFT 99, and I'm part of the Metaverse Generation community as well, and it's a really enjoyable space to be in, and it's really fun to interact with, artists and blockchain professionals from around the world. So I'm looking forward to you all joining my Moksha Shots journey from here on. And thanks again for having me. Kafi.
Thank you so much, Jenny. We appreciate you. It was gorgeous, and we hope to hear more about it in the coming months. Thank you, Jenny. Well, thank you, everyone. We've had an amazing day with two fantastic speakers, and we are about to close. We have no more questions. Thank you, Jenny, from Mike Chua of Fanfare, our sponsor. Thank you to Yasher from Tian Tech, BK Han, and Sean McCulley. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you next week.